Hi, my name is Chris Eliopoulos. You know me as a letterer or a comic book artist, and you're on SplashPages.
Excelsior!
Hey everybody, welcome to SplashPages. More coverage of Terrificon. I'm super duper excited because we have an absolute icon, legend, and an all-around nice guy, probably from New Jersey.
Takes?
No, we're still on. So, Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
You know what? Honestly, I being from the New York, New Jersey, I don't know how to respond to that without there being some sort of insanity. So I'm doing great.
Yeah, we're surviving.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Chris, I want to start with the beginning.
Okay.
So you started off. You attended FIT.
I did.
Right.
Fashion Institute of Technology.
Yeah, from the mid late '80s.
Not MIT. Like that's a whole different.
No, FIT. So you majored in graphic design, illustration, and essentially you did this kind of to make your parents not worry. You know, it was like, oh, I'll do graphic design, and you took a class with the great Gene Colan, which continued on a field trip where you got an internship. What was that like? Having a class with a Marvel legend, and how did you get an internship? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, so when I was going to school, my parents forced me to get a minor in illustration, so I did that, and I got to take comics classes, like cartoon. I was more, if you look at my work today, a cartoonist, like a newspaper. So I wasn't as much into comic books.
Right.
Like, there was a period of time in high school I didn't really know Gene's name. I thought he was just another comics artist. I wasn't really fully aware of who he was. And I would take classes, I would draw in my style, and he literally said to me, "You will never draw a Marvel comic."
Wow.
Not to say, like, I just didn't have that style that you would think for a Marvel comic.
Right.
So, but every semester he would take the class on a field trip of Marvel.
Right.
And it was the usual bullpen visit. You would walk around, see the editors, you would see the bullpen.
Right.
And I had asked somebody if they were looking for interns because I had to do an internship my final semester of college. And they said, yeah, come in and show us your portfolio. And my portfolio was all graphic design stuff.
Right.
So for them, it was like not comics pages. So they're like, oh my God, we got somebody here who actually knows production and business.
Right.
So they looked at my stuff. They made sure that I was getting college credit. And next thing you know, I went to go work for them. And they put me in the production department. My second week working for them as an intern, they started giving me freelance work.
Wow.
Doing pay stuff. So in the days, if lettering was done on a separate piece of paper, you have to glue it onto the boards.
Right.
They sent me home with 10 pages of Excalibur by Alan Davis.
Wow.
And Tom Orzechowski's lettering.
Wow.
How they trusted a 21-year-old they'd known for 2 weeks with a lot of that art is insane to me. But initially they had said, you're going to be a letterer because you have this typography and you should do it. They handed me all the materials.
Right.
And they said, on your lunch hours, you're going to work in it.
Wow.
And so I did that, and then since I was doing freelance, instead of going into graduation, they asked me to come work at Marvel proper. So instead of, my poor parents were so mad at me because I didn't go to my graduation. I went to the Marvel offices to start work. And so I started working there, and I was there for like 2 years.
Wow. I mean, that's a graduation of itself. I mean, I feel like anybody here would consider it a graduation.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it's not bad because the great Charles Schultz started off as a letterer.
That was my thinking at the time, is actually said, he started as a letterer. I'm following that same trajectory that I'm going to get out. And, it took me a lot longer to get into the drawing realm, but it was good.
But you've lettered correct me if I'm wrong, thousands of books, including 100 issues of Savage Dragon.
106 Savage Dragon?
Yeah, there you go. It's at least over 100. Over 100 at Eric Larson's request, right?
Oh, yeah, he's a good friend. Yeah, so we worked together. We started on Spider-Man. He liked what I was doing. I was kind of giving him what he wanted. And we've remained friends. Like, he stays with me every time we go to New York Comic Con. He stays at my house.
That's awesome.
So I starting in like 92, there was like a big push. Like, they were pushing out so much material.
Right.
So I was lettering everything. Like, I just got thrown on the butt. There was one point I was lettering by hand 30 books a month.
Jeez.
30 books. So think of it, you're doing 22 pages for a book.
Right.
There's only 30 days in a month.
Right.
So I was literally doing a book a day. Like I was crazy for a while.
Wow, you know.
And by hand, so you're doing with like pen
Right.
and ink. It's not computer stuff. It's not.
Did you know what sunlight and the days were, or was it just one big blur?
No, yeah. Ask my wife. She's like, we never saw me. She never saw me. I was always working. I will say this: the only thing that's interesting is they Marvel created a database online of the creators and how many issues they've worked on.
Right.
And I guess at the time the limit was 5,000 credits could go in.
Right.
And somebody called me up and said there's only 2 people that have exceeded the 5,000 credits: Stan and you. So me and Stan Lee, good.
Wow!
Verified air.
What a club you didn't even know you wanted to be part of.
No.
Now, also you designed the fonts for Marvel's in-house computer lettering.
Yes.
Right. Which is that's something I think they're still using, right? So
I own a company called Virtual Calligraphy.
Okay.
And I have 6 people working with me who letter all the books. I created all the fonts, and we work pretty much exclusively for Marvel.
Right.
So all the books today, most of them. There's a couple here and there where they have other people, but we do all of those books.
Wow.
So yeah. So every time you see VC's Joe Caramagna, VC's Clayton Coles, that's my company.
Wow, that is I've seen that countless. I've seen your name, and I've seen that too, and I'm like, oh wow, they do good work.
Yeah.
And now another one of your projects would be Desperate Times. Right, which is kind of it was kind of like a love letter to Bloom County, right?
Sure.
Bloom County,
yeah.
But also with a very strong appreciation for Calvin and Hobbes.
Totally.
You know, which I just have to say, I'm a huge Calvin and Hobbes fan.
Who isn't?
No, absolutely. And being somebody who actually even cosplayed as Calvin, and my girl did Susie Durkinch, and she had a Mr. It was Mr. Bibb, or her bunny rabbit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you know, her Hobbes,
her stuffed animal.
Right. I just love, like, again, it's always so great commiserating about how Calvin and Hobbes is just like that's just childhood in 5 panels.
Yeah, my inspirations were Peanuts, Bloom County, Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah,
like sort of.
Right.
I think if you look at my work, you can pretty much see all of them in there at some
absolutely.
point.
So, did you have any? Were there any favorite Calvin Hobbes? Like me, I loved Tracer Bullet. I loved Stupendous Man, and of course Spaceman Spiff. But for me, I loved anytime he did a snowman. Yeah. Because I was like, how? And at that time, I was living with my folks. I was like, how could I get my parents' neighbors to like us less? And my favorite was I actually created a snow goon, and I left it on the front yard.
And did anybody notice? A
friend of mine at the time, I told her about it. He's like, "That was your house? What the heck?"
You were famous. Everybody.
I know. I was like, and every year, and I one year one of them melted, but it snowed again, so it looked like it was
growing
up from out of the ground. And that is by far I always wanted to make that a Christmas card.
Yeah, there's everything. I mean, there's not a bad note that he hit. I studied that stuff. Like growing up, I was like, this is the thing. It was like Peanuts. It's like Peanuts was my childhood.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, it was Bloom County and Calvin and Hobbes, and like they can do no wrong in my eyes.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Every time I see a box, I'm like, it depends. I was like, well, is it on the side? Is it a duplicator? Is it a transmogrifier? You flip it over.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you flip it over. Is that a time machine? Like, you gotta. I was like,
that's the joy of being childhood experience.
Absolutely. You know, and so I definitely had to ask about that.
So the Desperate Times stuff, it was just Eric Larson saying, I have 2 pages in the back of my book, so I need you to do something.
Right.
And by the way, it's due tomorrow. And that was the first one. So like, all I just basically did was me and my college buddy.
Right.
And that's what it was. So we just kept going with it. And I think he's coming up on issue 300 soon.
There you go.
And he asked me to do another throwback to that one. So
Marty and Toad.
They'll be back.
There you go.
They'll be back.
So I have to also mention, again, Franklin, Son of Genius, was just fantastic.
Thank you.
Especially now that Franklin Richards is in the MCU, so I feel like you're definitely going to see a resurgence in that.
Yeah, the Marvel re-released my original first issue out again the week the movie came out, so they were.
Yeah, that was crazy.
They want to do something. Hopefully.
Absolutely, and then on top of it, and then the gift that keeps on giving, the I Am books that you did with Brad Meltzer. I mean, 29 of them. You're talking about various characters throughout history of such variety, and you even got to promote it. Correct me if I'm wrong, on the Late Night with Seth Meyers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was that like? And on top of it, you did a live drawing session, right?
Yeah, with Seth. Yeah, so again, the whole world is connected somehow. Where do I start this story? Okay, so Brad and I had done these books. Brad was on Seth Meyers at one point, and we were reaching a point in the book's life where we needed to really start pumping up and getting sales, and we wanted... So Seth and his executive producer, Mike Shoemaker, had come to see me at Comic-Con. They wanted to see me, and I didn't realize that they knew who I was or anything. And so Mike had reached out to say that when his kids were really little, one of his sons was just not reading, was refusing to read, and he tried everything, and he loves comic books, so he finally handed him a Franklin Richards, and he started to read. And he said, my kid learned how to read because of you, so anything you ever need, let me know. So I reached out to Mike, and I said, look, we really need to get some promotion on the books. Brad is the great guy on camera. I am not that guy.
You're doing good.
Well.
No, I just want to say you're doing good.
Thanks. And so I said, Mike, can you have Brad on to talk about the books? And he had said, we just had Brad on. If you were to come on the show, what would you do? I'm like, oh, no, I'm not the TV guy. Brad's the TV guy. And he goes, well, what would you do? And I said, the only thing I could think of, which what I do at schools, is teach people how to draw, teach kids how to draw. So I said, I can teach Seth how to draw. And so he's like, done. And literally that afternoon, my publicist was like, the Seth Meyers show called, and they want you on. And it was like that quick. And so I went on. It was right before the 2016 election. So I knew what they were going to ask for. So I had him draw Lincoln, and then he had me draw Trump. And so we did that one, and it got a bunch of laughs. It's very surreal when you're doing this because, like, your focus comes down to like this. I didn't see, my family was standing on this, like, I didn't see them. I didn't see the crowd. I saw the camera, and I saw Seth and the board, and that was it. I don't remember we talked afterward. I don't know what we talked about because they caught us on camera chatting. Don't remember any of it.
Well, it's recorded, so
but it looked good. I seemed like I knew what I was doing.
You did. I saw the video. I was like, that man looks like he knows what he was doing.
Fake it till you make it.
Hey. So the last question I have is just before anything is what advice do you have for any aspiring artists, letterers, anyone who wants to work in the business or is aiming to, that's their goal?
Okay. The one, it's so funny, it's become cliche now. You want to be an artist, draw every day. Draw something different every day. But it takes 10,000 hours of dedicated practice. That means not just drawing the same Superman figure in the same pose. It's draw the trees behind him, draw the buildings, draw him as Clark Kent in suit, learn how folds work, but draw something different every single day. And keep going at it. Same thing with writing. Do it every single day. Getting into the business, if you're talking about like being an artist or an illustrator or a writer, do your own book, do it online. It's the cheapest thing you can do. If you're looking to get paid work at Marvel and DC, get really good at it and publish your own stuff into the point where you get noticed. That you can hand out at conventions like this and say, here's my work to an editor that's coming there. Show them your work. It's easier for an artist than a writer. But it really, everybody asks me like how I got my agent. And there's no shortcut. The shortcut is get so good they can't say no to you. Like, I see a lot of people who look at a comic and say, that guy's doesn't draw very well. I'm better than him. No. You have to be better than Jim Lee. You have to make sure that you're good enough that
big shoes.
Exactly. But like, maybe that guy that's on the low end is fast, or he gets his work done quickly, or he's nice, or he's he's competent at storytelling, and that's what they need. Don't judge that. Be the best, and they're going to not say no. So.
Okay. All right. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. So last thing is that if anybody wants to interact with you on social media, what would be the best way for people to do so?
Everything. Bluesky. I'm not really on Twitter anymore, even though my handle is there. Everything is Chris Eliopoulos. So on Instagram, on Bluesky, on Threads, Facebook, whatever.
Cool. All right. Whatever indeed. Well,
whatever.
Everybody, please check out Chris's work. I mean, everything he's doing is literally, it's like the police said, everything he does is magic. So keep it going. We'll have more coverage for Terrificon, and
see you next time.
Yeah.
Excelsior!